Okay, Friday, 16th of February 2024. So, arguing from first principles. So, one little, maybe a tweet or Instagram post I saw weeks and months ago, I really couldn't tell you now, was talking about how Elon Musk argues from first principles when it comes to creating an argument or a strategy or a product or a business or whatever. So, naturally curious, what does that mean? Arguing from first principles. What it means is to understand the core, fundamental, true axioms of something, these things that are either self-evident or they are fact we can't disprove, laws of physics or whatever else. So these first principles, the core, fundamental truths of something, and then understand those things and build up from there. So I was like expanding and curious what that means. Oh, okay, fine. So as I'm curious, I would look at, say, what are the first principles of, say, manufacturing, for example, on ChatGPT, and then give me a list of them. Or I'd type something in like the first principles of Bitcoin on ChatGPT, and then give me these fundamental truths about something. So by understanding those fundamental truths, I can then build upon a very strong foundation and build upon them to build something that has a long-term vision and long-lasting, meaningful. Because we want to try, and I've come to realize, by arguing from analogy, which is like almost the opposite of arguing, kind of the opposite from arguing from first principle, these truths, arguing from analogy is extrapolating a story or a way of understanding and interpreting something, and arguing from like the basis of fiction or a story or what's called a paradise fallacy, arguing something that's not true. So it's a very interesting little, firstly, it's a very interesting little hole we can get trapped into by arguing from analogy, or something doesn't work well. Imagine if such and such and such and such is creating a story around a scenario or a product or a thing. So arguing from analogy is a fallacy. We're trying to avoid that. Instead, argue on first principles, the fundamental truths of something. Okay, but then we have these fundamental truths, and then we can go one step further. I know through business that by creating new and innovative things, we have a competitive advantage over the competition. Okay, so then I had an idea where I knew that other first principles of other industries could be applied into, say, education with my clients. So I took the idea that logic, to expand the logic and raise the stakes, I would look up the first principles of different kinds of industries that are, say, completely opposite to education on ChatGPT and get a list of them. And then I'll try and figure out ways, or ask ChatGPT as well, to reverse engineer those first principles, those fundamental truths about something, how I can use those principles, those concepts in a complete different field, in this case, education. So I'm boiling down other concepts, other industries and fields, their first principles, and then figuring out how to reverse engineer them and apply it to something completely different. That way, and build a unique business as innovative as possible, depending if it's a good product fit. Very innovative by using first principles of something, i.e., using the strategy that this tweet or this picture, whatever, actually would be an interview, and I think about it, where Elon uses first principles. So what does that mean? We are finding the absolute truths of all kinds of topics, and I even asked ChatGPT, what industries are the exact opposite of education? Oh, it's this, and this. Right. Tell me the 10 first principles of that, and this, and that, and this. Copy and paste, Word document, and think, and plan, and strategize. So it seems in life that we want to be finding the first principles of everything as much as possible. Now, you could say this could lead to a very logical, nihilistic way of looking at life, a very reductionist, a very empiricist way of looking at things, very measured, very calculating, yes? And if you follow that logic too much, you go down you reach what's called the McNamara fallacy, which talks about you're looking at things far too logically, far too mathematically, and not considering or ignoring the human, emotional, unreasonable, irrational aspect of life that in the mix of the calculation. So we want to be logical, but remember still emotions and humans still play a role in the world and society. Again, that's self-evident. Interesting, self-evident. So we want to be able to find the first principles of things and use those as foundation to build ideas and strategies, and even the way we view the world by understanding the first principles of, laws of physics, laws of chemistry, laws of biology. The first principles we can build, I'd say scientific models, but we can build our perspective, our viewpoint on life in the world based on those fundamental truths, those truths that are either self-evident or they've reached the point now where they can't be disproved because there's so much compelling evidence to say this is correct. There's nothing out there substantial or nothing meaningful that counters it. So by understanding first principles of life, biology, science and physics and maths and whatever else, we can have a much more correct, rounded view of the world and how it works, how it operates. First principles of being human, of society, of living in modern age, of cars, of computers, of education, you name it, everything. This kind of ties back to another video I did a week ago now, I think, talking about we are becoming the demon with ChatGPT. By understanding and learning so much about the world, so many aspects and concepts about the world and how it operates, we are becoming the demon. We understand what could happen. We can predict the future because we have so much knowledge, first principles, truthful knowledge, and facts about the world we can draw upon to say, right, I've seen this behavior, this action before, then that means that probably this is going to happen based on, if all things being equal. Powerful stuff. So then I say, right, it's worthwhile interrogating ChatGPT and asking it about different concepts, fields of industry, studies, chemical production, manufacturing, engineering, whatever else, you name it, and tell me the first principles of this and that and this and this, and studying it. So how I'm applying that strategy, I have this big Word document that I've been working on bit by bit every day, where I ask ChatGPT, tell me industries that are complete opposite to education. Okay, all these things here. Okay, and then each of those tell me 10 first principles. Okay, 10 of each, right? And then each of those 10, each of those 10, give me like educational theory based on it, actionable ChatGPT prompts and tools I can use based on those principles, and what was it? Something else as well. Ways of using it in different ways. So I'm really extrapolating and looking at these first principles of different industries and extrapolating and reverse engineering and reconfiguring how I can apply this obscure concept in like quantum mechanics, how I can extrapolate it, put it into education and change my business model. Change my business model based on something truthful in the world or something mathematical in the world. And therefore, as a businessman, as a product, as a service, I can be that little extra unique, little extra memorable, standing out from the crowd, or being so that my competition can't compete with me, because what I do is so unique, they just don't do it at all. I have no competition. And I'm doing all that based on something real, something obscure, by all means, something like quantum mechanics, by all means, something I've never heard of, but it's like using the power of the internet and ChatGPT, using the power of AI, learning the obscure principles of life and applying it in business. Powerful. And then, as I said earlier, we could look at the first principles of biology, chemistry, physics, maths, you name it, behavioral economics, philosophy, you name it. Maybe not philosophy, a little different, but still. And then, geography. You tell me the first principles of these concepts, and those things can shape our worldview. And then as we shape our worldview, as I said earlier, we can have a very solid foundational grasp, a very strong grasp of reality. We know what's going to happen. Again, the demon, we become the demon. This is Maxwell's and Laplace's demon. We can have a very strong grasp of reality. This is powerful, powerful stuff. You become very logical, very scientific. And as I said before in previous videos, where you've got to balance that, because if it's too much of one, you hit the McNamara fallacy, ignoring all human emotions. But on this side, you're ignoring all logic and maths. You become, I don't know what the word will be, but let's say unrefined. Let's keep it elegant. Unrefined and too emotional. But we want to keep a nice balance, ideally a little more logical, you could say, as opposed to rational, as opposed to irrational and emotional. Because that's, as men, as a man, we want to be more rational and logical in life, not being emotional. We want to be in control of the situation, scenario of our life, of our destiny, of our future. And then how can we achieve our destiny, so to speak, unless we have a strong grasp of reality, of how it works, what's going to happen next, what could happen next, these fundamental concepts of life. Again, physics, biology, chemistry, you name it. So, first principles, fundamental. Fundamental first principles. Nice. So otherwise, you will see me tomorrow.